Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Riff Rundown. My name is Angela Petrilli here with the fine folks at Fishman to show you how to play some of my favorite tunes. This is one that I have gotten a ton of requests for. It's a great one to learn. It is super fun. We're going to be learning Knockin' on Heaven's Door by Bob Dylan today. So this is a very beginner-friendly tune. There's only 4 chords in this song, and I've been thinking over the last couple days, how am I going to teach this to you guys and so you all can get the most out of this lesson? So I decided I'm going to teach you guys 3 different options on how to play this tune. Not 1, but 2, but 3. All right, so it's going to be a lot of fun here. Again, geared towards my beginners here, but don't worry, there's going to be stuff for the intermediates and the advanced folks too. Again, if you guys are enjoying these lessons, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and if you want to check out all the cool stuff that Fishman is up to, I've got a video link in the description so you can check that out. So before we get started, folks, you know I like to ask a question, so let me know where you're tuning in from and your favorite Bob Dylan tune. All right, where you're tuning in from and your favorite Bob Dylan tune. Get your acoustic guitar and standard tuning, and let's get to learning this one. So this is Knockin' on Heaven's Door by Bob Dylan. Then you got your fade out at the end, right? It's a fun tune. A really, really beautiful, beautiful song in 2.5 minutes. What a beautiful, beautiful song this is. So it's a great song to play, great song to learn here. Again, as I mentioned at the top, I'm going to give you guys 3 different options to play this. And the third option is going to include capo. So have a capo handy for this lesson too. We're going to need it in a little bit. So let's go ahead and look at option 1. So option 1 is going to be what I just played. We're going to be doing open chords here. So the chords that are going to be here are G, D, A minor, G, D, C. Okay? So we're only looking at 4 chords. Same chords in the verse and same chords in the chorus. All right? So let's go ahead and look at how we play this song with this first option. All right, so we've got G major, D major, A minor, and C. All right, so let's have a look at the first 2 chords here. We have G and D. So there's a thing I like to look for, all right, and I really, really encourage this, particularly with my beginners here, as you're beginning to learn how to switch back and forth and strum at the same time as you're playing these chords, is to look for pivot points, okay? And those pivot points are fingers that 2 or more chords may share, right, when they're next to each other in a progression of song, all right? So if we look at G and D, have a look at my 3rd finger when I'm going between these 2 chords, all right? Notice how the 3rd finger did not move at all right? So that 3rd finger we're going to use as our pivot point. But let's first look at how to build these chords and what notes are in these chords. So we're going to play a G major chord like this. Your 1st finger, 2nd fret of the A string, that note is B. Your 2nd finger, 3rd fret of the E string, that note is G. That's where our root is, all right? Our 3rd finger is the D note, 3rd fret of that B string, 4th finger is G, 3rd fret of the E string. Now, if we think about the formula in building a G major chord, G, B, and D are one 3, 5. They are all present here. Strum every single string. There we have a beautiful G chord, all right? So that's what's happening there. Now the next chord in the progression is going to be that D major. Now do your best here, particularly my beginners who are watching today, all right? Do your best to keep that third finger down as you switch to D major. Now, the 1, 3, 5, the building blocks of making a major chord for this D major chord are going to be D, F sharp, and A. All right, so when we look at this D major chord, our first finger should be on the 2nd fret of that G string. That note is A, and your second finger should be on F sharp, 2nd fret of the E string. That's our 3rd, and then your 3rd finger here should be on the 3rd fret of that B string. That note is D. That's our 1, or our root. All right? And we're going to strum from the D string downward, just like that. All right? So I'm going to do the strumming nice and slow here. We're going to start with G and D only. All right? So here we go, nice and slowly here. Notice how I'm strumming, right, from the elbow, all right? Getting a nice broad strumming pattern here. Let's go ahead and do that again. Let's continue. Now, the next chord here is going to be an A minor, so let's go ahead and play that here. Now, the formula for a minor chord is a little bit different. The formula here is 1 flat 3, 5. So in this case with A minor, A, C, and E are going to be our target notes. So let's go ahead and find them now in this chord shape. So our first finger, placing that on the 1st fret of the B string, that note is C. Second finger reaching up to the 2nd fret of that D string, that note is E, all right? And your 3rd finger is playing A, 2nd fret of the G string. Strum from the A string downward this time. Just like that, okay? Nice minor chord, nice sad chord. So after this A minor, we're gonna go to G. All right? So I'm gonna play through this progression nice and slowly here. G, D, A minor, back to G. All right, nice and slowly here. Here we go, follow along. Now that A gets another measure. All right, so after that G chord, we're gonna see D and C. So the total, right, all the chords here in the order that we're looking for, G, D, A minor, G, D, and C. So our C chord here, we're gonna do, so we're gonna reach with our first finger, 2nd fret of that B string. All right, that note is C. Reaching now with the 2nd finger, 2nd fret of the D string, that's your E note. 3rd finger reaches 3rd fret of the A string, that note is C. Strum from the A string downward here as well. All right, so again, the order, G, D, A minor, G, D, C. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and play this for a little bit. Nice and slow. Here we go. Don't forget those pivot points. Let's do this again. Let's speed it up a little. One more time. There's something very cool that Bob Dylan does too here. We see it live and we hear it in the recording too. Is with the C chord and sometimes with that A minor chord. He gets the fourth finger and he places it on that G note, third fret of the E string. Have a listen to this chord. We have the C chord, that added G note, all right? So what I'm gonna do here, we'll run through this one more time here, all right? Feel free to add that pinky finger after you play that C chord, all right? Really lifts it and brightens it up. So let's go ahead and do that again. What's kind of neat too is when we play this as that C chord, right? With that fourth finger here, there's another pivot point. We move to G. Again, food for thought, something to think about. As I say with these lessons, I am planting the seeds with you guys, all right? I want you guys having fun and playing these tunes a lot. And again, if you're loving the lessons, be sure to subscribe to the channel. It helps the cause, folks. It helps the cause. So that is option 1, all right? So let's go ahead now and look at option 2. We could play this all as bar chords, right? If we see these open chords here, why not play them as bar chords? So I'm giving you these other options in case you're, jamming with some friends around a campfire. It's summertime, right? And instead of everyone playing in the same spot on the guitar, we're going to start to explore up the fretboard. So here is option 2 as bar chords. So have a listen here. It's going to sound a little different. We're playing all the same chords and we're playing all the same notes, as I will show you in a moment. So here's the progression as a bar chord. So we have that there. So let's go ahead and look at the chords here. Remember the chord formulas that I said at the top of the lesson. And let's see how these notes match up. So with our bar chord G here, G major, we're gonna do your first finger across the third fret of all 6 strings, all right? Your second finger placing that on the 4th fret of that G string, third finger reaching up 5th fret of the A string, and your 4th finger 5th fret of the D string. Great, now we know how to play the chord. Press through, strum everything. Right? And again, our thumb, I don't want to see it up here when we're playing bar chords. I want it at the middle of the neck. We're pushing through with that thumb, all right? We're going to need that anchor there. So, now let's talk about the notes that we're playing. The tip of your first finger, that's G, that's our root. Where your third finger is, that is D, that's our 5. Your 4th finger is playing G, it's another root, okay? Your second finger is playing B, that is your 3rd. So look at that. All the same notes are there. Pretty cool, right? So again, think of these as synonyms of one another, okay? Saying the same thing, but in a little bit of a different way, all right? So that's G major. Now let's go ahead and look at D major. This is a bit of a tough bar chord to play. All right, but again, perfect practice makes perfect here. So we're gonna do here, this version of D major is gonna be at the 5th fret. That's where we're gonna base it, all right? And again, pushing through with that thumb in the middle of the neck is going to help you make this chord very, very successful, all right? So your first finger, lay it across the 5th fret of the A string, D string, G string, B string, and E string, all right? Now we're gonna get our 3rd finger. This is where things get a little iffy. My beginners, stick with me here. Don't lose me here. Stick with it, all right? 3rd finger, okay, we're gonna place it across 3 strings. I know it sounds like a lot. Pressing through on the 7th fret of the D string, G string, and B string. 7th fret, all right? If you can get that high E, good. Work towards it if you can't right now. But even if we just get the A string, D string, G string, and B string, we're okay for right now. But work towards getting that high A. All right, so let's look at the notes here. Remember, D, F sharp, A. Let's find them first finger. The tip of that first finger is on the D note. So there's our root. Your third finger, all right, 7th fret of that D string, that note is A. That's our 5. The 7th fret of the G string, that's another D, all right? And the 7th fret of that B string, that's your F sharp, that's your 3rd. So there's everything there, all right? So, switching between G to D, then we go to A minor. Lucky for us, A minor is very close by this D major chord. All right, what we're gonna do here now is that first finger, we're now gonna put it across all 6 frets, all 6 strings on the 5th fret. There we go, say that 10 times fast. So your first finger should be across the 5th fret of all the strings. All right, 3rd finger reaching over 7th fret of the A string, that note is E. Your 4th finger, 5th fret, or 7th fret rather, of the D string, that note is A. Now, this is it for the chord. Now, with this second finger, the second finger doesn't have a job right now. If you need it to press with that first finger, you can do that. And you're going to strum everything through. Again, notice how you cannot see my thumb here. It is doing its job pressing through the middle of the neck. All right, so that's the move there. Let's go ahead and look at those 3 chords. So now the next series, G to D to C, we're going to play it like this. Just like that. All right? So G major, the same. D major, the same. Now, D major and C major are a whole step apart from one another. All right? So what we're going to do here is this shape, we're just going to bring it back a whole step. In terms of guitar, it's 2 frets for us. So your first finger, 3rd fret across, okay? A string, D string, G string, B string, E string. 3rd finger again, pressing 3 strings at the same time, all right? So that 3rd finger, 5th fret of the D string, G string, and B string. So just like that. What are the notes? E, C, E, and G. 1, 3, 5. There they are. So that's C, that's G, that's another C, and that's another E, or the only E. So there they are, okay? So they're all those notes. So if we play the progression, let's go ahead and play it with bar chords. All right, so here we go. Nice and slowly here. Now, say you wanted to do a different version of D and C. You want to bring them up the neck a little more. Check this out. Here's another option. So I guess it's 4. I lied. I was going to say 3. I'm giving you 4. Check out this option. There's D, and there's C. Now we're doing a little bit more traveling when we choose to play D and C here. So that D chord, we're going to play it all the way up here at the 10th fret of the E string. 3rd finger is going to be on the 12th fret of the A string, that's your A note. Your 4th finger, 12th fret of the D string, that's a D. And your 2nd finger, 11th fret of the G string, that's your F sharp. Strum everything. And then you would bring this shape all the way back to play C major. 1st finger is on the 8th fret, all right, that's C. 8th fret of the E string. Your 3rd finger reaching to the 10th fret. Yes, that's the 10th fret of the A string. That note is G. And then your 4th finger is playing another C, 10th fret of the D string. And your 2nd finger is the 9th fret of the G string. All right, that's E. Strum all the strings. So here is another option with those bar chords. I'm gonna play the whole progression again, so here we go. Now here's the higher bar chords. Now let's do an option staying a little closer to home. So then again, there's the bar chord option, option 2, all right? So, got different cool options that you could use. We have the open chords. And we have the bar chords. So, there we have it. Pretty cool, right? Notice how we're working our way along the fretboard. That's what I want you guys to do. Can't be scared of the fretboard here. Lots of options for us. So, now's the time, folks. If you have a capo, I'm gonna go ahead and grab this one. I want you to put it on the 5th fret, all right? So, the capo, I like to get it as close to the fret as possible, all right? We don't want it crooked. I feel like if it's crooked, the guitar is gonna sound a little out of tune. So I try and get it tight, okay? Nice and perpendicular with that fret, all right? This is a nice low profile one. So there you go, all right? So, option 3, we're gonna be playing this tune capoed on the 5th fret. Here's what it's gonna sound like. So when we're playing with the capo here, notice how it sounds a lot higher. We are not in this part of the guitar anymore, all right? Again, we're working our way up the instrument. I love utilizing a capo if I'm playing with other guitar players and I want to get nice, cool, different voicings that aren't stepping on toes, all right? So this is a really good option here. Did Bob Dylan play it with a capo? No, he was up here. All right, but we're going to be playing it up here. Again, I wanted to give you guys options for such a beautifully composed song, okay, with not too many chords, all right? I want to give you guys options to keep things interesting, to keep things fun, to encourage you to play with other musicians and other guitar players, all right? So we're going to learn that here. So the chords are going to be a little bit different. We are, however, in the same key, all right? Notice how we haven't changed keys. All right, this capo helped us stay in the same key, all right? So, relative to the capo, here are the chords. It's gonna be a D chord, an A chord, an E minor, back to D, to A, to G. Now, this is according to the capo. Now notice, listen to this G chord, for example. I can't call this a G chord when I have this capo on because it's technically not a G chord. Notice the difference when I play an actual G chord. They're different chords, right? So, keeping that in mind, that's why I say in accordance to the capo, all right? But we're gonna have a look at the notes here in these chords and you'll see that. I'm gonna call it a D shape, an A shape, an E minor shape. But in fact, we're playing all the same notes as we were earlier in the lesson, all right? So this D shape here, we already know how to play this, all right? But now let's have a look at the notes here. We're strumming from that D string downward, but the notes are a little bit different, right? We're playing a G chord, in fact. So this open D string that's a G note. Check it out, because 5th fret of that D string, that's a G note. Our first finger here, okay, on this 2nd fret in accordance to the capo, but if we were to take off, right, if we were to take off this capo, that's actually the 7th fret, and if we look where our first finger is on the 7th fret of that G string, okay, that note is D. Pretty neat, right? Now our 3rd finger here, in accordance to the capo, is the 3rd fret, but if we took the capo off, all right, that's actually the 8th fret of the B string, and that note is G. Check it out. Now our 2nd finger here, that's on the 7th fret of that E string. That's in fact a B note. So see how it's a G chord, but it's a D chord shape. All right? And the strumming pattern is going to be the same. And now we go to this A chord, okay? A chord shape. That's our D chord in disguise. Check this out. All right, see my capo here? If my first finger were to do this, and then do this, see how it's a D chord shape, that bar chord that we just did? But now I'm playing it like that. Okay, it's an A chord shape. We're in fact playing D, F sharp, and A, all right? Now we go to this E minor in accordance to the capo. But if we look at the notes we are playing, that open E string is in fact an A. Look, the capo's on the 5th fret, all right? Now, that 2nd finger, 7th fret of the A string, that note is an E. All right? So A and E. So far, so good. All right? Now that 3rd finger is now on the 7th fret. Okay, if we took the capo off, in accordance to the capo, it's 2. If you took it off, it's the 7th. There's A. And then right there, there's our C, 5th fret of the G string. See how the notes are the same? So far, D shape, A major shape, E minor. Now to D, back to A, to G. I'll do that again without the commentary. Let's do that one more time, a little faster. One more time. Isn't that great? So again, 3 different options here on how to play this tune. So option 1, let's go back, take the capo off. Let's go ahead and have a listen to that. Option 1, open chords, how Bob does it. All right, bar chords, option 2. And then, last but not least, capo, 5th fret. So there you have it, folks. There's Knockin' on Heaven's Door, 3 different ways. Again, wishing you all so much success. And folks, I will see you next time.